G'day, this is just a brief snippet of all the videos put together of the last year of work from when I started to having this body here. So it's been 1 year now. So I just thought I'd throw a quick video together to show some of the people that have just found the channel. If you've watched all the videos, there's not going to be much new footage or anything. It's just a quick little run through of how I've done all this work. So yeah, so let's hope we get some good progress in the next year. I think once we start mounting a body to the chassis, things will go a lot quicker. So yeah, thanks for watching. Enjoy. Cheers. I use a small little projector to set up all the panels using the plans here, and then we've gone along and marked them all out and cut them all out before setting them up on the frame. And that's what we see here. I should also add that the plans that I used were not accurate at all. That just gave me something to build from. So here we've just started with the easiest pieces, just so I can get an idea of where everything is and the shapes and sizes of everything. And once we've got all that set up, we started moving on to some of the more difficult sections. But here you can see it coming together pretty quickly. Here we've just set up the windscreen shape, and then moving on to the side, just using some battens to get the basic shape of the body before filling it all in. Here we're trying to find the shape of the front guards, just trial and error, just looking at photos and video and trying to work out where I want everything. That's the hardest part, but it's also the funnest part, trying to work it all out. Here you can see I'm starting to add a few more and get that basic shape together. And once we're happy with all that, we fill it in with some expanding foam, and then trying to replicate that exact shape on the other side, which is a lot more difficult than it might seem. So, but yeah, once you get going and moving in that direction, it all comes together pretty nicely. Here it's actually starting to look like something. Just finishing up some of the expanding foam on the front and setting up the other side. Once all that's knocked back, it starts looking like the right shape. So then we can start thinking about covering all that in filler. Here I'm just trying to get the side profile and the middle profile of the wing before setting all that up and using expanding foam again. Here I'm trying to set up the side vent covers, trying to get them symmetrical and looking correct. You can see them from the back. I'm pretty happy with that. There's a few changes I want to make, but basically they've got their shape. Here we're moving on to the main side body panels. using the same technique, just those battens. I'll just backfill it with a bit of cardboard and then fill it all up in with the expanding foam as we're doing here. And it's quite messy, but the result afterwards is quite rewarding. Once we have that all roughed in, we start covering it with some drywall putty. And once that's sanded down, we just give it a coat of paint just to seal it off. And then we get to do it all again on the other side. But this side becomes a bit harder because we're constantly checking that it matches the other side. But with those battens, it makes it a lot easier. So you just sand down to the battens and you're within the ballpark then. Today I'm just going to cut all this foam back with the saw and then file it back. I'll just use this rasp file. Just make short work of the foam. It's very aggressive, but gets it right down like within a minute. So I just want to be able to get it to the point where I can put a thin coat of filler on it today. So well, I think that's as far as I'll get this week. This side's slowly starting to look like at least a side. The other side's starting to come along pretty good now. Obviously there's areas where the wheel arch will be, so I'm not bothering doing the bodywork there. And then, yeah, I'll make the uprights, finish the wing, and sand. Luckily this stuff, like I said, sands really quick, so I'll be able to get a coat of primer on all these areas so I can start thinking about making the mold. And this mess is one of the wing uprights. It's one of these. One of these is inside that foam. I just wanted to add some to it so I can shape the top of it to match the bottom of the wing, so the wing sits on top of the upright perfectly. So once this all goes dry, I can just knock off all that extra foam and coat it in some filler. And it's another day, and I just put another coat on it. I'm gonna have to just do many light coats to get this because it's too cold for it to go off otherwise. So it's taking its time, but it's this side's turning out a lot quicker than the other side, so that's good. Okay, it's starting to look pretty much exactly the same. I'm just marking out roughly where everything is. Otherwise you just waste a bunch of time doing bodywork on areas that aren't going to get used anyway. Yeah, it's just better fine tuning now to get it all perfect. I'll just put a thick coat of primer on the wing and then on the upright. This is just house primer. It goes on super easy and it sands really nice, kind of like a high fill. So it fills up any little pinholes, just to help us get to that next step a lot quicker. And it's cheap, so that's even a better thing. It's amazing how much better things look when it's all in one colour. And I was super impressed with how far I've come when they got to this stage. So yeah, super happy. Yeah, I've just released the wing upright, the moulds. There's a few little bits that need to be cleaned up, but they came out pretty good. Some of the filler remained in the mould, but a bit of water that just fucking fell right out. So at least the wax and the PVA is working, so I'm happy with that. And now we'll do the wing. I've just made those 4 little raised areas. Just makes it look not so flat. I don't like the little bump in the deck lid like some of the later cars had, but just looks better with something there. So yeah, just gotta glue these down and this is done. Here I'm just sanding I just use house primer on the overall the drywall putty. Now that I'm just sanding that down, and then I'll just spray it with like a white spray can just to get a nice finish to start waxing. And just do a section at a time. And when I don't get overwhelmed, I can just do a section and then progress to the next section. So yeah, it's going well now. Now that I've got the cards off, there's a few little spots where the hot glue was that I just have to touch up. And then I'll do the next piece, which will be both these hatches in one piece. I'll just do it in one piece, that way I can put a little partition up in that mould to make the 2 hatches separate. It'll just make it easier to mould it here as one piece. So that'll be the next one, to make a little flange around, and then I'll get stuck into that. There's the flange made. It's all hot glued in. I've just done a silicone wipe around the edge. Now just make sure I'm happy with everything, and then start waxing it up. There's a layer of gel coat. Tomorrow when I get home, I'll put a layer of a 300 on it. And yeah, beef it up over the weekend, then just go to the next piece again. There's layer 300. Tomorrow I'll thicken it up with a few layers of 600, and then we'll do the 2 sides, or the 2 front sides anyway. Here I'm forming up some of the sections. That signed plastic material is awesome. You don't have to wax it or anything. The fiberglass just peels straight off it. So that's one less step you have to do. So yeah, I'd suggest getting that if you're going to do something similar. But yeah, it's just time consuming cutting all the little pieces, but we're getting there now. This is more like just loading the brush up and dumping the paint on, or the gel coat on, and then the smoothing it out. It's not like painting a house. You just want to get it on there and then get a nice coverage so it doesn't mess with the wax. I just grabbed one of the front pieces and just hit it with a bit of 320, which cleaned it up pretty quickly. Yeah, I'm gonna wet sand a little bit and buff it up and see how it comes up, and then I'll also do that to every single piece. So we got our molds all cleaned off. Obviously I'm going to still sand them up and buff them. But yeah, there's only a few little repairs here and there. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with all the rest of them. But before we can do that, we need to take care of this. Here we're just wet sanding them, just smoothing them all out so they can polish up nice. And this one had a few repairs to do on it, just where that crisp line is between where the bonnet hood is and the fender. It had a bit of pre-release, so I've just fixed that. Other than that, there's a few little bits here and there that I've touched up, but other than that, they were pretty good. Now it's just a matter of wet sanding everything, buffing it and putting it all together. So let's continue. Well, this is the last one to buff, or wet sand and buff. All those ones have been done. So yeah, just keen to get this one done, and then we'll clean the whole garage out, all the cars and bikes in here, and we'll start fresh and put them all together. Here we start bolting all the little pieces together. This part was super rewarding because it all came together quite easily and quite nicely, and to see it all shining and red, it was quite nice. So yeah, I was super happy at this stage. Well, I couldn't resist, so I bolted it all together. Everything went really well, although I underestimated how many bolts I needed. I've already gone through about 160 bolts, so I think I need another 10. But other than that, putting it together was a bit of a pain, but I can still do it all by myself, so that's good. Here I'm just trying to work out where the front little indicator housings will be. I'm gonna make like a little plug to go in there, and I'm making these as well. These will be the side vents that go up in the side up there. I was going to fill all this with foam and shape it and cover it in glass. And yeah, then just make some pieces for the gutters, for the hatches, and then we'll start waxing.
Special training school, like people here in
Here we have our little inserts made. They're all screwed in. We'll just do a little silicone wipe or a bit of modeling clay around the edge, and they're good to go. Now we'll just finish the side ones, and then we'll be ready to start waxing. Here we're just setting up the sill to make. I've just made a flange on it, so when the part is made, I have a reverse flange, so when I build the body I can make that flange as well. So these two pieces will bolt together instead of being molded in. So yeah, getting there now. So after we make the seals in this front hatch, we'll set up all the guttering, all the rain gutters for the doors and the hatches. Then I'm going to remove that whole back section, just it's the top in the mold, but the bottom of the car. And we're going to lay that up separate. Then we're going to lay up the main part of the body, all up here, front guards, around the windscreen. And then we'll join them together and then we'll glass them together. It just makes it easier for me to reach and do in smaller pieces. So I'm only doing this myself after work, so I don't have the time to just spend doing it all at once. But that's the plan, and we'll see how that works out. Well, there's all those three pieces made. I'll leave this one in the mold for a few days and then we'll release it before this video is finished. The seals I'm going to leave in, so when I bolt the seal molds back together, that lip is there so I can glass up to the lip. And then we'll see if I'm happy with the thicknesses. The second body is the body I'll be using. The first body I'm going to use for mock-up and checking thicknesses and where I need reinforcement and steel inserts and all that. Yeah, so any mistakes we make on this one we can fix on the second one. So that's the plan. It's getting a bit cooler here now, so I'm hoping to get these two bodies done before it gets into the heart of winter. So we'll see how we go. Cheers.
be able to manually shift it. I can't.
Here we've just started prepping the main part of the mould. As you can see here, I've just setting up where the gutters will be. I've just set them up 5mm out from where the hatch was made. So that should give us a nice gap when it's all painted and bodyworked. I've done the same around the doors and the rear hatch there. I've also put some little bits around where those rear vents are, just to get a lip returning inward. That should give it some strength and something for the vents to actually mount to. Yeah, tomorrow we'll start waxing this and hopefully get this glass this weekend. And here we finally start demolding the body. Every part came off really easy. I was super happy with that. But once we had the body flipped over and sitting on the floor, even though it wasn't trimmed or anything, I was pretty happy at this stage. So finally had a body, and it actually looks like something other than just a bunch of fiberglass. But yeah, this is quite a good moment. Here we'll start setting it up on the jig and getting it all level and square, just so we can start doing some other parts like the flares soon. But before that, we have to do the doors and that rear hatch. So here's just setting up that. Also making another wing here. There's the two hatches made. You can see I've separated the two sections in the mold. And here I'm just glassing the doors. We'll just roll this out. And then I'm out of resin, so that's as far as I'm gonna get. There we have it, door just rough cut. Obviously they don't fit that great right now because it's just rough cut it. The last thing I want to do is cut too much off. Well, the side vent looks pretty good. Yeah. It's looking like something now. You got the steel on the ground there. I've got no way of holding it up there, but it's yeah, it's looking like a car again. Yeah, there we go. So for the flares, I'll do something like this. I'll get a shape cut out of cardboard that I'm happy with, and then locate it on the body, and then trace it out. And then we'll do the foam trick again. Mold them up, and make a couple of pieces. Once we get those done, then we can make that front wing bumper. And then, yeah, the MR2's coming in. Well, that's about it. I think that's been a year. So my plan was to have a body within a year. Although I have a body, I don't have the flares in the wing, but I mean the front wing. But pretty close. I'm pretty happy with how far it's come. I only do this after work. It's not a full-time gig, so to build a plug, a mold, and a body in a year seems pretty good to me. But yeah, hopefully the next year we'll have it on its chassis and see how far we can get then. But yeah, thanks again everyone for watching. Cheers.